So that scene I thought was good. The implications of it, I just don't know how I feel about it.
Like,
I need some clarification. I'm sure the director, someone will talk about it, but
maybe there could be like a cut line. We don't know.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
True.
Yeah.
You know.
After that, we get a really, oh my god, the scene with Andrew, right? Was so good. So we all knew it was coming.
Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, I don't love that suit for.
I don't love the suit either.
But seeing Andrew,
so
that was
dude. Andrew is so good.
He nailed it. Yes,
he did such a good job.
He was so likable. I wish he was like that in his own movies. But he wasn't.
What it shows is Andrew Garfield could have always been a great Spider-Man.
Yes.
He just needed better writing, and the writing here is better, and he's so good. And also, you can tell that he knows this is his last shot to make right, you know? And he's putting his all.
He did it.
Everything,
he did it.
From every line, his face, you can tell he was...
Yes.
The way he was standing and like moving.
I just love the scene.
You can tell he took this so seriously.
Yes. With Ned and MJ questioning him, and it's like, and he's just kind of like, well, what else can I say? I don't have an ID on me, or here I can.
I know, and I love how he does this, and it was
and
so.
Then I love how he got the cobweb. It was so funny.
Yeah, it was so good.
Stop throwing bread at me.
I know. He's like, stop. It was really funny too, because Andrew Garfield, who also might win an Oscar for that Netflix movie he did this year,
Tick Tick Boom.
Tick Tick Boom. Yeah. I think he's an incredible actor, and he did a great job.
I'm so glad that he probably must be so happy he got to do this and just say like, I did it.
Finally did it.
Yeah,
and he gets more, which is so good,
man.
And so that was wonderful, and the portal behind him. It was so weird seeing that suit with the portal behind it.
I know, and you see it, and like I can tell, like, well,
I knew it was him. I was like, that's Andrew.
It was like, and as soon as they said we got to find Peter, you kind of have multiverse.
I like the idea that Ned could be a wizard.
Yes,
that's
which
awesome.
Is cool. I really love that. But he doesn't. I don't know, since he doesn't know Peter. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Have connections anymore.
Right, but even if they just have like one scene of him and he's working for, or he's like one of the acolytes or something,
it would be really cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
There was a gag that I'm not sure if you guys caught where the people that were working for Wong or Strange or whatever, they were trying to put the thing together that fell in.
Yes,
Red
that was
Rock.
that was from.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was the same thing. It was like a knife over.
Trying to put it on and it falls
I noticed
off.
that.
I didn't notice that.
Really funny.
That is amazing.
It's great detail. It's
so
covered in snow, and then when they make the spell,
I love to put it up and then it falls.
I love how the whole thing of them doing the spell underneath the basement. It's like your mom's house, and like you make loud music downstairs or something.
That was awesome.
And you're like knocking things over.
I loved that. It was just so funny, and the characters. It was like electric. It was so well written and edited, and I love the grandma, and I love that. I was like. When he's like, that's like, could you please get rid of the cobweb while you're up there?
Yeah.
I was like, please make him do that. Peter Parker would be nice, and he sure enough did it. You know, it was so good. And then they open the other portal, and it's Toby. I'm a little sad he wasn't in suit. Why was he not in his costume?
He had it underneath.
Right.
I'm like,
they probably wanted to wait for like.
Well, I think he was saying like trying to keep like a secret idea, and also if you have more,
that's actually true. That's funny. Only Tobey Maguire would try and keep his secret identity in an alternate universe.
Yes. And then Andrew Garfield's walking around like, picking up cobwebs.
Immediately takes
and Toby, we'll get into it more, but he also did a really good job. I was nervous that he would phone it in because it's been so long he's been in a movie. I heard that he was playing hard to get. He kind of wanted more money for it or something. Yeah. But no, he committed. He really committed to being good. You know, like he never settled. It wasn't. I was worried he'd be like the freaking guy from Die Hard. You know where he phones it in every movie now. Yeah. I was nervous we would get that, but he didn't. Thank God. Committed. He did. He was so funny. He did a really good job.
He didn't play it cheap, which I'm glad because so many people care about how he played that role and how he just brought it back.
He did a really good job.
It felt so meaningful and there was
character.
It was and behind
and these guys are in the movie for a long time.
Yeah,
you know?
I would say
than I thought.
Yeah, and I was like, that's amazing because I love everything. There was not like one wasted opportunity or. All I would ask for is to see them together more.
There's another scene that we'll have to talk about when they're just like sitting on the tower.
I just love the interaction.
Oh, you want to talk about the scene of them where they see Peter Parker? Yeah, actually.
So let's talk about that. So that's the other big part of the movie.
So this is so I teared up with the May stuff. I wasn't like full on crying, but I got really teary eyed. But it was also because I was trying to think like, what about Uncle Ben? It was like in the back of my mind. But then the scene when Peter's just sitting there by himself. And when MJ and Ned come over and give him a hug and he holds them, it just, oh my god, I started dying. You know, I started getting. I think we each can connect personal experiences, right?
Yeah.
But it made me think of my girlfriend a lot in moments I've shared with her, and that really hit me hard. And I was like, oh god, that was so. Oh my god, it's one of my favorite Spider-Man scenes ever. Is just that moment, and when he Tom Holland. Oh my god, he's doing such a good job. Yeah. He's acting his heart out, you know?
I'm not trying to get upset about that again.
Right.
About it too much.
Oh god, but he's doing so. You should say
Editor, move camera. Thank you.
There you go. But that scene was great, and when you see, and I love that rather than Tom being like, "Oh, it's other Spider-Man," he's like, I don't care.
No,
I'm done. I love when he's like, I'm done trying to solve your problems for you. You deal with it. Yes. You know,
these are your guys that you listen to these guys. You deal with them. However your way you want to.
I loved that, and I loved when he's like, don't tell me you understand, and and then when Toby talked about Uncle Ben, that hit hard, and then oh my god, when Andrew talked about Gwen. Something about the Gwen stuff.
I cannot believe how much I like.
I'm glad he said that and not Uncle Ben.
Yes,
right, yeah.
Yes, because he could.
I like that they acknowledge that each Spider-Man, it doesn't need to be Uncle Ben.
No.
It can be something else.
Just someone.
Yes.
Someone in their life that was so important that they knew that they...
He still mentioned it.
Yeah.
He mentioned it. He acknowledged that he knows Ben. Yeah. But for him, his catharsis was Gwen.
Yes.
And I like the idea... and it hints that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man went on he said he stopped pulling his punches. Yeah. Great reference to the comics. Spider-Man pulls his punches because he shatters someone's brain.
Yep.
That's a thing from the comics.
Oh, yeah.
You know, literally there's a line where he's like, he always pulls his punches.
Yeah. He kills people.
Yes. But I love he's like, I stopped pulling my punches and I got really dark, you know, and I like the implication that it's just suggested, but that version of Peter Parker has almost given up on being Peter Parker and is just being committed to Spider-Man. You know, it's like Daredevil season 3 when he stops being Matt Murdock and is just Daredevil.
Yeah,
that was cool as and a really great way to push his character forward.
Yes,
you know, Tobey Maguire doesn't get as much like pushing forward. I was really hoping that when he talked about Mary Jane. And he's like, how did that work out? I was really hoping he'd just put his hand up and have the wedding ring on and say that they're married. Yeah. They didn't do that, but they still acknowledge that they're making it work. Yeah. You know?
Which I like that. It's not like it's going to be like, oh yeah, we're perfectly fine.
And I do like when Tom Holland says, she said with great power, and then Toby's like, comes great responsibility. You know? That was awesome. And it also makes sense because Andrew wouldn't have known because his line is fucking weird. Yeah. It's like when there's the obligation, the moral to do the right. It's like
I get it.
So he wouldn't necessarily
to have the capability to do something right.
Exactly. Dude, I would have laughed so hard if the line went Tom's like,
well, I heard it like this.
Well, if Tom went with great power and Andrew went, comes the moral obligation that you must do the right thing.
It's just great responsibility. That's all I had to say.
No, but
Toby's like, what?
What the hell is that?
What'd your Uncle Ben tell you?
Cut straight to the point.
What the heck?
But I love that. I love that moment. Oh god, and it's so good. And then what follows, and I love that Ned and MJ are a part of this.
I'm so glad. I cared about the three of them so much.
Right.
Outside of the three Spider-Man. No, I'm just talking like just the three friends. That was like.
What do you got to say, bro?
I will say, I think she is the best in this movie compared to anything else. I like her way more in this movie than I did in Far From Home. Homecoming, she's in it for like 10 minutes.
Right. I liked her in Homecoming and Far From Home. I know most people didn't.
I liked her.
Far From Home, I like how...
But in this, she's amazing.
Yes, I just like the progression of them getting to know each other, their relationship, them trying to ask her out, and then see them like, oh man, now you're in the mess of my life. Yeah. Here, you know... Look how it's happening now.
That was great. And then what follows is an incredible scene in the lab scene, which I think will go down in history as like one of the best scenes. It's so good. And it's long, thank God. And here's the thing. They create this concept that the villains from the old movies can be cured of their ailments, which... With any other context, I would have been like, bullshit. Yeah. But it's three Peter Parkers who all have their own experiences in science. Yes. I can buy that three Peter Parkers could come up with a way to do it. Yep. You know, that works. If it was anything else, you know...
Especially two of them make their own
web fluid. Because Peter was very...
Yeah, they make their own web fluid.
Another gag. Right. Holland's Peter was very close to, like...
Right.
Like, he was starting it.
Yeah. Right. And Holland is more like...
But Peter wasn't able to make the cure for the green because they, May stuck in his shoulder.
It didn't work. Nope.
Yeah.
He needed help.
That was perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a great way of explaining
to acknowledge.
And that was, he got it working for Ock. That was it.
Right.
So,
he cured.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool because Tom Holland, he's always been more of like hardware, like machinery, science, tech.
Yeah. So that's why that worked.
Right. And Andrew and Toby are always more chemical and like that kind of thing.
Makes
sense. Periodic
and that's perfect because that's why Andrew was making the formula for Lizard.
Yeah.
And I love how you just.
I always I know how to do this, dude.
This is fine. I did it once before.
God, they're acting their hearts out here.
Yes.
They're all doing such a good job because you can tell they're just happy to be there.
The scene with Ned is great where he's like,
dude, I love that. So I guess no Hobgoblin.
No, but. Someone else.
Maybe someone else, yes.
Harry Osborn.
Right. I liked, though, that he's like, Peter, I promise I will not turn evil.
And then he's like...
And I love, there's so many moments where they didn't need Andrew to go, yes, my Harry Osborn also. You just need to give him a look. He just gives a look, and that's all you need. There's a lot of little looks.
He's like, sure.
Sure. He's like, that was awesome. I love that he puts on a lab coat.
Yeah. That was great with the blue glove. That felt like Kirk, what was it? Like him in the comic books. He would have like blue gloves. It was
so good.
It was a lot of fun.
And I love and the jokes. There's so many jokes, but they're all ingenious. Like when he goes, Peter, and they're like, Peter, well, you need, and they're like all
Peter
talking.
Parker,
and it goes on for like 15 seconds.
I think it's one of my favorite jokes they did.
Did they start pointing at each other yet?
They were pointing at each other.
Oh no, yeah, they were.
They were going like they were
they were doing the meme.
Yeah. I loved that. And again, Tobey Maguire's not being awkward or he's totally committing to the jokes and nailing them, and they all were doing an amazing job. I mean, it just was so special to see them,
Yeah.
Especially since Tobey Maguire's not been in a movie forever.
No, and him
since Boss Baby.
14 years.
We're going to bleep a lot.
Spider-Man.
I apologize.
I mean, it's,
But that was great. That was awesome. There's just a lot I could forget about, but there's so many moments in there that are so good.
It's going to work better on a rewatch.
It will.
You'll be able to get all the jokes, and you'll be like, this movie's way funnier than
There's so many... I think it is... probably the funniest Marvel movie, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
It's so funny.
Like the saddest one.
Yeah, true.
They fixed the Scooby-Doo joke because
I told you he would say
I'm
shit.
glad he did. Yeah. That's why I laughed. And no one else. I was like, oh, they did it. Thank God.
I was like, okay, it's coming.
Yeah.
Thank God. I knew the reason it didn't work was because it was dubbed and he said crap.
Yeah, which I get because you're having an international wide trailer.
Right,
you
can't go Scooby-Doo this shit.
Yeah.
The way he said it too was great. He was like, Scooby-Doo this shit.
Yeah. I know. It was great.
Oh.
And then the scene in the Statue of Liberty.
Oh.
I love that Peter called. It's so cool because in every other Spider movie, the villain summons Peter.
Yes.
But in this one, Peter summons
Peter
all of them.
makes the call, and I love that because
he has a conversation with J. Jonah.
Yes.
When do we ever get Spider-Man talking? It rarely.
Never.
Never.
So and right then and there was like it was perfect.
Yeah, yes.
It was perfect.
It was. Oh. That scene is so great. It's long.
It is.
It's like, and you see them, and you see all the moments from the trailer where we thought they were they missed.
Yes.
Like even when he landed on the Statue of Liberty, I saw so many photoshops of the exact thing.
Yes.
Of the two behind him.
So I love how Toby lands Toby lands first, and then Andrew, and then third generation with Holland that came in.
Yep.
And then Andrew did like the greatest kick to the lizard's face.
I thought it was Toby that did that.
It was Toby.
Was Toby on top or bottom? That's what I was trying to.
I think because he fights the lizard after that. Toby.
Yeah.
I think it was Toby. Yeah.
I think it was Toby.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it was Toby.
They were small.
Again, this is the issue. We talked about this, me and him. Andrew Garfield's TASM 2 suit and Toby's suit are so similar that it was going to get hard.
Yeah. I could tell because he has the gold on his.
Easily.
But I was just...
By the way, cool that Doc Ock gives it to him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Such a cool moment. Yeah.
But whoever kicked the lizard like that, he did like a flip and then boom. It wasn't just like a jump and then boom. It was. I love that.
It was really cool. It made sense that it was those three because Otto was good. He was being okay, and then Goblin was waiting to come in at the end. Which he would wait for them to feed him all up.
Yes.
So that everything in that scene was. I mean, first of all, I love when Andrew fixes Toby's back.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Though we all knew the web shooter joke was coming.
Yeah,
we all knew it was coming.
That was the best
but
part.
I'm happy it went on for a while, and I'm happy. And I love they're like, we're not judging you. You know, we don't have that, so we're curious about how.
He's like, this is getting weird.
And it's so weird to see the John Watts humor with those guys, but it works because they're doing a good job at it. Like they're nailing it.
Everyone was.
Andrew Garfield keeps saying like weird things the entire time.
Yeah,
he calls them brothers.
Yeah,
I love that because he was so excited.
Dude, there's a moment where he's like, "I love you guys."
Yeah, and that was so. I love that.
And then Tom's just like, "Thanks."
Yeah, so they both said thanks. Yeah, I love that.
I love when they're talking about the villains.
Mm-hmm. That was.
I love he's like
that
this weird alien ooze.
They mentioned Venom, but that was like
the Venom.
So
I was hoping they would mention villains we hadn't seen.
Yeah, other Mysterio,
like
Vulture.
Like I was hoping for a joke where he was like if Toby would have been like, there was this Mysterio guy who was a real asshole, and then the other two could have been like, he sucks, you know, or something.
I think they wanted to just stick with.
You're right. Yes, they did. They didn't want to throw too much at you, which I can understand. You know. But I love the Rhino joke with Andrew. Him trying to explain
everyone was laughing about that
funny.
Yeah.
They nailed that joke. Oh my god!
So
Russian guy in a Rhino-esque metal costume. They're like weird.
All right,
dude. They were all doing such a good job.
Yeah.
And I'm a little sad we weren't able to see Toby's suit in daylight.
Yeah.
You know. But it's looked great for what we could see.
It was close towards the end.
It was close.
You can see a bit of it.
Yeah, with the mask.
Yeah, I want to see more of the mask. That's how I was
but I mean, it was still. It looked. I mean, that suit is so beautiful.
I get why they did that. It's so people wouldn't get super confused while watching it.
Yes,
that's why they.
But they did have their masks on for a good portion of that battle.
Mainly the fight.
So when they were like slipping up quite a bit and they weren't trying to get they were trying to get these villains cured, but they were like, all right, let's go one at a time. Each one.
I love
when they ran off and then jumped, and the three of them, and they were helping each other swing.
I know.
With the webs combined, I was like,
that is something we wanted. You know, everyone was talking about. Oh, in Spider-Verse when they swing together was so cool. That just got blown out of the water with this one.
That was perfect.
I know. I love that.
Yeah, and they're going to the front of the statue.
I know. There was another thing I want to mention. I don't want to forget it. About Toby. Something happened with Toby. I forgot what it was.
Toby.
Oh, like the lizard grabbing on his leg?
Yes, the lizard.
That was so
Finally,
cool.
we got to see Toby fight the lizard. I've been waiting 13 years to see him fight the lizard. Finally. Oh, my God.
And at least the lizard was like I'm glad they just.
He was better.
I'm just glad they just did that.
He wasn't. I was so worried he'd be.
Whoa.
They're joking about him turning people into lizards.
I know.
Because he's probably dealt with his lizard. Because they had Kirk Connors in that trilogy.
Yes, he definitely.
But he's never going to use it. That's why he's.
Electro was like, let me guess, you want to turn me into a lizard? He's like, yeah. Trust me, it's cool.
I love. The action there is so much fun. It was hard to take it in because so much was happening.
Oh my god!
But it was good. They did the action really well.
Higher and higher, and then when Octavius showed up,
and then I love the moment when they couldn't they had no idea how to fight like a team. No. And they're like, I know you guys have never fought on a team, have you? And they're like, no. And he's like, well, guess what? I'm an Avenger. And Toby's like, that's great, but what is that? And then the fact that that Tom would have to be the de facto leader because he's the only one who's fought on a team is such a cool moment. Yes. I'm a little sad that it means that Toby and Andrew exist in universes without other heroes. But I also know that people probably would have been mad if they retconned it in there.
I mean, look, the closest thing we probably have with like Toby's universe is Strange.
Right.
And he didn't even know Strange.
But I understand people would have been upset if they changed the way those universes were.
Yeah.
So I can respect it, and it gave Tom a really cool moment to be.
Have his unique
his capabilities
to the table and I work in a team, so
it was just excellent. And then
we have like each individual moments, and I love how you see like Andrew messes with Electro, but you see like Toby mess with the lizard, and they
fight Sandman again,
which is great. I like how they
all fought all of them.
They did. It's not like they were.
There's a moment when Electro electrocutes Toby, and stuff like that.
Yeah, between both of them. I would love that, and that felt like a callback with TASM 2 with that was really cool.
I loved that, and then there's the moment when we all knew he was going to save MJ. Everyone knew that,
and that was.
But it was really well done.
You can see Andrew's he was getting teared
right.
up. Yeah, he was like,
and that was when he saved that moment when he saves her. Yeah. He's looking at her, and he just starts tearing up. Is so powerful.
Yeah, that's what
it's so powerful, dude. Like, and he's doing such a good job. He's trying not to cry, but you can tell. Yeah. Oh my god! I mean, listen, I love seeing Toby, right? But if there was a but Andrew was the one that probably was the most emotionally cathartic because they clearly went out of the way to go. Well, he never got his ending. Yeah. He never got these moments done right. He never got his due. Yes. And even if you love TASM 1 and 2, you never got a conclusion to that universe, right? So they clearly went. At least Spider-Man 3 is an okay ending, the moment it ends on. Yeah. But Andrew never got that. So the idea that he would get these, it's so powerful, and obviously. The man is doing such a good job.
He was. I was so blown away by his performance. Yeah. He's also a terrific actor, but just how well he's.
It's because we're used to him.
I love that.
Exactly.
I appreciate that Peter Parker so much more now because of how they.
Yes. Toby was great. He was.
Toby's always been
the veteran.
Yes. Yeah. I loved how he's just you've grown. Yeah, that's what Okoto said to him.
You're all grown up.
Yes. I love that.
He's the one he's the Spider-Man. They acknowledged it in the science scene. He's the one that's figured out his balance with Peter and Spider-Man.
Yes.
The other ones haven't yet, but he has, and because he's the
oldest.
He's the oldest. Yeah. So it makes sense, and I also love the idea that obviously this is it's 7 years after in universe. Yeah. Probably more like 10 years after TASM 2.
He's got a little bit bigger.
After TASM 2. Yeah, damn near 20 years after Spider-Man 3. Yes. I love it's a simple thing, but the idea that there's still Spider-Man that long after is really cool.
I love that because Old Man Peter Parker is kind of the older Peter Parker.
Right.
It's a fun.
It was so good, and then
why would we stop?
And then Otto comes in to help them. Green Goblin comes in. Oh. Renzo noticed something about him, which is so fucking cool. I never noticed this. His suit. He took parts out of his glider to upgrade his goblin suit. The blade in his arm is one of the blades from the glider.
Oh! Yeah! I was wondering, how did he get the parts?
He's got cool Predator blades.
That's so cool, because that also explains why he was able to repair some parts of his suit.
He used the tech from his glider.
That's awesome.
And if you look at it, it's more silvery, it's less polished.
I wonder where he got the goggles from. Maybe stole them from Doc Ock? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they're
He took out of his pocket, he's like, I'll take your extra pair.
But that moment...
I didn't know that.
Yes, so he comes in and he says... Does Spider-Man want to come out and play? Yeah. Oh my god, he's so good, dude. Yeah. And he's Spider-Man's arch nemesis. Green Goblin is the arch nemesis.
Sorry, guys, but...
It's not Venom that is so stupid. It's not Venom. Doc Ock you can make somewhat of an argument for, but not as strong.
He's the Joker.
And he got to take Aunt May away from Peter, which is... he didn't get to kill MJ or anything in the original universe, so he got to have a profound impact. Yes.
Destroy this Peter's.
And his glider from behind move, which didn't work before, worked now.
That was
Toby. And then he lands, and it's just so cool. And the fact that that he goes and he gets that one-on-one fight with Tom Holland the second time, that choreographed hand-to-hand fucking slug-out brawl was so good.
On the shield.
That is probably going to be my favorite Spider-Man fight forever. Not even because it's the most well choreographed or the most epic, but the most personal.
Yes.
And when Spider-Man fights Green Goblin in the comics, that's what it's supposed to feel like. Yeah. That personal thing. And also, in the comic books, he fights Green Goblin and he's like, I'm going to kill you for killing the woman I love, when he kills Gwen, So I like that they recreated that. They were like, they're like, oh yeah, after he kills someone, Spider-Man, that's not out of character. That's exactly what he does
because he's so fueled with,
right,
from inside, he's like, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to kill him.
And he beats the shit out of him and it's so good and he just overpowers him. And then Toby stops him from killing him.
And that's another thing, is that's again, the first time from the glider, and they're also trying to do it again, and I love how he's like, no.
And you know what's amazing about it? What's so good about that moment, and I started crying, tearing up, is he doesn't say anything to Tom.
No.
He just looks at him.
Yeah, right.
He just gives him a look. Yeah. And then and again, the acting, he did such a good job, that look, It
was perfect.
Oh, it was so good.
You didn't have to say anything.
He didn't say anything.
No, it worked so well that way.
And then the goblin stabbed him and I had a heart attack.
Yeah, which I was like...
there's no way they're going to kill him.
Thank God.
Can
you imagine?
And anyway, and then who gives him the serum? Is it Doc Ock?
Oh no! So Andrew throws it to
he throws it to him.
Picks it up.
By the way, Green Goblin. Boom. We get a Green Goblin v Doc Ock moment, which is so cool. Awesome. And he cuts off one of the arms. Yep. Whoop! Which I could see people having a problem with it if it wasn't this version of Green Goblin.
Yeah.
You know, it's so cool that like it feels in line. Like if anyone's got tech that could match it,
I've always felt like the tentacles have just been like indestructible. Like, you can't but man, that cut like butter.
It was so cool.
What the heck?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, my Doc Ock here has had a torn off arm for 10
there you
something
go.
years.
There's your torn off arm.
And finally it's canon.
Yeah.
Was that the right arm?
I don't know.
It's one of them. Well, he had like the top two, and then he was holding on to.
Oh,
right.
So
he was.
It's on the right side.
Yeah,
you know.
There you go. Close enough.
That was great, and then Andrew gives him the serum that works because he was able to put with everyone else, and then he gives it to him. He cures him. He doesn't kill him, which is so. That's Tom Holland. That's how he operates. He's so cool. You know that it's so cliche to have what the villain like. Goblin would be like, and pull out like a pumpkin bomb, and then it goes off too early and he kills himself.
Yeah.
You know, nope. No. Tom Holland makes damn sure that he doesn't die.
Get that chance.
And he gets that moment of his origin where it's like, oh god, the look of, it was so good.
So that was,
I love all the Spider-Man hug.
Yeah, that was.
And then you get that, oh god, the moment with
painful scene
with Doctor Strange. When he needs to be like, he didn't
want Peter to go.
I love, dude. Even Doctor Strange gets an arc. I love when he's like, the people that love, the people that love you. We learn that Doctor Strange cares about Peter Parker, and loves him, and even he gets an arc. Like so good. Yeah. So he's talking to Strange, and he needs to, and he has that really beautiful moment where Strange talks about how much he cares about him. And we start seeing villains coming through the cracks.
Yeah.
Other Spider-Man villains. Because this movie was not content enough having every Spider-Man villain in a movie ever.
It's the ultimate Spider-Man movie.
It needed to hint at the others.
Yes. Two worth mentioning.
Three. There is Scorpion.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't see
Craven and
Scorpion,
Rhino.
Craven and Rhino.
I didn't see Scorpion.
And then there's a shorter one, maybe Black Cat. I didn't see what it was.
There's probably more in there.
There's
hundreds. But the ones that I saw was Scorpion, Craven, and Rhino.
There was a four-armed one, too. We don't know who it is, though.
Maybe just another version of Doc Ock.
Maybe something I hallucinated.
Those were all... That was all very cool. And like, again, that means this movie's racking up as, like... Technically, that's an appearance of those villains.
It is.
So, that's 3 plus 5, right? 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
In the end, it'll be 10.
Yes.
So it's never gonna get more. And the fun thing is, it's not a shit show. It's not a disaster because all the villains.
Because they didn't just like pop in. I mean, that would have been cool. Like have more people, but it would have been way too much going on.
Yeah.
But I like just. It was just shown. Like you could see, like they're starting to come through.
Yeah. Yes. And it was enough.
And that's why I was like thinking about that. I was like, wait, if that box breaks, does that mean more people would come out? So then that's when we see that. It's like okay. So.
It would have been really funny if, like, some random guy, like, I don't know, Aunt May just fell through. Because he knows he's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Stiltman. Oh, my God.
He just, like, he comes down from the rip and he, like, steps into the river.
My God.
Manhattan River.
Yes. But then Peter Parker ends up... This is why the movie's so cool. And it's an exploration of... what it means to be Peter Parker and Spider-Man and the sacrifices that need to be made. And Tom Holland ends up making the sacrifice of everyone in his life will forget Peter Parker exists. Not that Spider-Man exists. They'll know Spider-Man, but they'll forget Peter Parker. Yeah. Which means he needs to give up on all of his relationships he's formed over these last few movies, right? And any other time I'd be like, you're really erasing a lot of history there, right? Mm-hmm. But because it's so tied to the journey of Peter Parker... it pushes him so much forward. It's such a mature decision for him to make.
He doesn't have too much left anyways.
Right, so exactly. Aunt May's past, Tony Stark's past. They're really set up to be okay in that,
And then with the Avengers,
and so all the times people complain about him revealing his face too much, completely erased, He's
got a clean slate.
And that's, and the scene with him and MJ was just heartbreaking. And him and Ned... It was really sad, and then he gets to hug the Spider-Man, and I'm a little curious if that spell applies to. I guess it applies to this universe, not other universes, right?
Well, it applies to. Yeah.
Because, I don't want... is Tobey going to return and MJ forgets who he is?
No,
I don't think that... No. I think it was this one.
That wouldn't be much...
Because this Spider-Man...
Because he went into another universe, there's like...
I don't think Doctor Strange can do a multiversal spell that can, wipe all the multiverse.
Right. And the issue was that this Spider-Man was... The spell started with him, so it makes sense.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That's just a really sad scene in general, though.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking.
Those three have, the best scenes in the entire movie. They're so good. Ned is such a goofy character.
He's so good.
But I love him in this movie. movie so much.
They're all well utilized.
And
but
MJ,
yeah. And then the movie closes with Peter Parker once again needing to make a very mature decision. That was a very Spider-Man moment. Him having to decide, not to tell MJ because he knows it will rope her into his struggle again. Very much a mirror of like the ending of Spider-Man 1. Now they might go further. They might have them show up again because there's a question to be held. The lesson of Spider-Man 2 isn't necessarily just up to him. Because were making a choice to be part of his life. Like they knew the risks, right? So that could be a lesson he could learn in a future movie. But as we are right now, he's under the impression that he can't have too many people close to him. Otherwise, they will always be at risk. I'm really curious where they're going to take that.
Especially these two other Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
And knowing of what their troubles and what part of this role of being Spider-Man is.
Yes.
The scene with Happy.
That was
horrible.
I wish there was a Ben Parker grave next to hers.
Yeah.
It's the biggest.
But that scene with Happy was heartbreaking, dude.
Because it's that he's just not going to know him, and then you're like, yeah.
Right.
It's like, how did you know her?
It was just payoff after payoff after payoff.
Yeah.
Paying off things we didn't even know needed to be paid off from other Spider-Man movies. Yeah. But paying off everything they've set up in the last 2 movies, this would not be as emotional or resonating if we had not taken this journey with Tom Holland up until now. We needed to get to learn to love him, to love his relationships and his friends, to understand the sacrifice he was making. If he would have done this after 1 movie, we need Homecoming and Far From Home for this movie to be as impactful, and even Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
And
Civil War too.
Civil War. That's right. I always forget that one.
That's the setup.
We need those movies to let this be as impactful. I think it's by far the most emotional Spider-Man movie, hands down.
Yeah.
And it's haunting, and the score is so loud and like just it's just a great moment. And then the scene I was not expecting. Peter Parker's living on his own now. He's an adult.
Oh.
And as soon as they open that door and they got the guy like
talk about rent.
Let's do next month. Make sure you pay on time.
Uh-huh.
And then
he walks through,
and he has a smile. He's kind of like, I can.
He knows he's taking this journey on. And
God Almighty,
we see a sewing machine, and then once I saw the sewing machine, I was
see
like,
the little Emperor Palpatine like.
That was heartbreaking.
That was
God damn it.
Yeah.
I want to see.
Who would know you can get like a little bit emotional over seeing a
I know, right?
Because that's the thing he gives. That's the.
That was from Homecoming when they were building the Death Star. And
I'm pretty sure
it's a moment he does this.
Either he gave it to Ned or he put it on the top of the Death Star himself.
Ned's like, I'm gonna wait. I will let you finish it.
Yeah. So he lets him put. Yeah, that's what happens.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
I really am looking forward to the behind the scenes featurette about the prop master who had to figure out which Emperor Palpatine minifigure he needed, and thus far needed to go back and order it off Bricklink.
The lightning that he had to get the pieces. Made sure.
Couldn't use the new hood. Had to use the old hood. Anyway,
I love Jamie Foxx when he says, "So you like Legos?"
You like Legos?
That was just.
He goes, "These your Legos?"
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I love that.
But and then we see, we don't get to see it fully, really, but we get the implication. Mm-hmm. Tom Holland has sewn his own Spider-Man costume. No tech, no Stark tech, no special features. No. It's a classic, the most classic Spider-Man costume you can imagine. Just fabric, and it's like shiny.
Yeah, very shiny.
We don't get a good look at it because they're probably going to redesign it slightly and
just keep it.
He gets a great web scene where he runs around and he starts flinging around.
The final swing.
The final swing is amazing.
Whipping down to the Rockefeller Center, and you see the ice cream, you see the giant tree. Yes, and you see, oh my god.
It's amazing. Perfect. The suit looks beautiful. Yes. It's classic, so it's not, cool and, textured, but it's cool that it's so simple,
But it's very appealing.
It makes it such a more satisfying swing because we also know that he's embarking into
new territory.
He's become the classic Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Which
is
not just not just A classes, but like the
man.
You know,
He's the
yeah.
man. That this is his position.
Like they very clearly were like, we want him to be the definitive Spider-Man going forward.
Yes.
Which
I mean, when you look at it, it's all a big allegory for how his school system and how he's going to college and all.
Yep,
that.
exactly.
You got like that's just him growing up.
Yep,
which is weird.
I'm very excited.
Mature.
I want them to make Spider-Man 4 just for that suit.
That's
They probably will, but
I did read something. Kevin Feige said that they are working on the next Spider-Man movie right now.
Okay.
So just to because he didn't want to hold fiasco the trauma people had like us and like after Far From Home and what was like that.
Right.
So it was.
He said they're working on it?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I hope they take some time.
Right.
You know? Let us.
Yes.
They probably will.
Well, they do every 2 years.
And they're going to need to go back to basics, but this is what we're saying. And I still think so. I think a villain like Kingpin, a street level.
Kingpin,
bring it.
Craven.
Yes.
Hobgoblin.
We'll just do a street level villain.
Yeah.
Street level Spider-Man.
Nothing crazy.
Dealing with rent.
Stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, it means every hero in the MCU who knows Spider-Man does not know he's Peter Parker. They just know he's Spider-Man.
And
so
that's
they don't know how to
perfect.
find him.
That's
really.
it's just like how back
you don't got Tony Stark to come in and be like, "Hey, I know you."
Yeah, it's very cool, but this journey is so much more emotional, and there's it's not just cool, we're getting classic Spider-Man, but we've had a journey to getting there. That has got so much emotion in it that feels so great, and his journey is so fundamentally Spider-Man. His struggles.
100%.
And it also means we get this really cool Spider-Man movie where everyone knows he's Peter Parker, and there's some really weird situations that happen. The teachers, Flash.
Yep.
Very strange to see, but very entertaining.
It's very stressful. Like when you first start the movie, and there's so much happening, and everyone's like throwing bricks at him.
Yeah, exactly. And then we get the post-credit scene, the first one. Okay, so this scene, I really like the scene. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's well written.
But
it's well acted. Just hold on.
Okay.
Well, what happens is Eddie Brock. So we get a post-credit scene with Eddie Brock. And it's so funny because he's with the bartender learning basically the history of the MCU.
Yeah.
Which is really funny. Venom's voice sounded really weird.
Yeah.
Clearly they did not get the pitch right, which is fine.
It's Tom Hardy voice.
It sounded a little bit different than it normally does, but that's okay. He did a good job.
He was drunk.
He was funny. Yeah, he was drunk. That's why it sounded like. I love him learning about the lore of the MCU.
Hulk.
And then
Thanos and Iron Man.
Yeah. And then he's like looking up, and then he vanishes. He goes away, and they're like, "No, we just got here, right?" But he leaves a little piece of goop, and I was really hoping. I was like, "Don't just let it be goop. Have it move." And then it moves.
It moves.
A little bit of movement.
And I like how it just seems
which
different.
means
it looks. Yeah.
You could do actual symbiote Spidey now.
Yeah, and
no problem.
If you wanted MCU version of Eddie Brock now, in the classic format,
because there's no.
Let's forget that Eddie Brock.
Right.
So I'm excited to see when. Obviously, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then mention the black goop from space.
It's weird that they did that because he doesn't know.
Here's the thing. That's the one plot hole. The idea of the spells is brings in people who know Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
That Venom does not.
But he doesn't know he's Spider-Man.
In the Venom 2 post-credit scene, they mention about the hive mind with the symbiotes across the universe. I'm thinking that it possibly could
the hive mind shared info.
And that's why Venom's like that guy, and he looks him in the screen. It's like,
because maybe for
some reason he's attracted to him.
If that's the case, they need to explain that.
Yeah, they
need to go out of their way.
They just threw that line because it's like, why did Venom just say that now for convenience to say like, oh wait, here's Spider-Man.
As it stands, it doesn't make sense.
No.
But I would also say
that's
more of a problem with Venom 2 than Spider-Man.
It is.
No Way Home.
It is.
Because that's the one who sent him there.
Yes.
Yep.
Because everyone else they know Peter Parker, and we don't know if it exists. And I hope God it exists in their dark universe.
Right. They did something like that, or you could have even waited and then not did that post-credit scene. Maybe he was already in the MCU to begin with. Could you do that with Venom 2? Or does it break stuff?
It would probably mess stuff up. Because, why didn't he snap away? Why didn't... right?
Well, half the people didn't, right?
Well, I never acknowledged someone, half the universe,
exactly.
But I still liked it. I liked that it was like, okay, symbiotes in the universe, but Tom Hardy Venom's not.
I'm like, fine by me.
And it also, Peter's set up in a good spot. He's very alone right now. He's got no one. Nobody. He's got literally no one, aside from maybe Happy. If he decides to pursue a relationship with him.
Yeah, he probably won't. I think Happy's like let's be real, he's probably like done for a while.
Probably.
I don't think we're gonna see him.
Maybe he'll show up in Armor Wars.
Probably a show.
Armor Wars or Ironheart. Yeah,
he's gonna
something like that. But other than that, I think he'll be like.
But I love how he's been just a mainstay character throughout this trilogy.
Yeah,
if the entire MCU.
Yes. Yeah.
Well,
since 2008.
Exactly.
Leading through Spider-Man,
He grew up with Iron Man. He grew up with Spider-Man.
Yes, I love that. Weird? So. If he appears next in Armor Wars or Ironheart, that'd be great. And then if they want to leave his character there, but
it's still a pretty good post-credit scene. I'd say
it's a good scene. I didn't hate it at all. I liked it.
It's just that one thing is like what?
It's a little confusing.
It is.
But I like the idea that the symbiote's now in this universe. Perfect time. I mean, I do want him to wear that classic suit. He better wear it.
Yeah.
But also,
I love how now that he has the classic suit,
the symbiote will have a bigger impact because it'll be more
different.
That's
what I love about that. Because if he was just wearing the black and red suit.
I'm glad that's not like his definitive suit.
No, and I'm glad that
it's the definitive suit in the way that it's the last Stark tech suit he's going to get, so it's a combination of all of them.
Yeah, and that's what we thought, and then it ended up happening, which is so cool.
What's going to be weird is if they do an action figure of that suit from the end of this movie, it's just going to basically be a new comic book Spider-Man.
Yeah, which I'm like, yes!
Yeah, right.
Because it'd be for movie
it's
and
extremely classic.
Yeah, it is. The eyes, that's what I was like, oh my god, I'm looking at it, and I'm like,
oh yeah, I'm really happy they did that, and you said it would make the symbiote more useful because it's not like he just has a nano suit.
It's just like I don't know. It's like this. It's like Spectacular Spider-Man, like that bright color suit, and then boom.
So
black.
Like so we're very interested to see where they're going to take this.
Yeah.
I
got many more questions.
Me too.
I can ask, and
there's the post-credit. I don't want to open up this can of worms because this is another movie, basically.
Yeah.
But it's a trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse Madness. That's fine.
It's a bit weird.
I was expecting something else with a certain building they've been building up.
4 individuals, possibly.
Yeah.
But it's all right.
They never... they never figured... That's the one plot there that doesn't get resolved is the fucking building from Homecoming.
True. They've been building it up this entire time.
We might hear about Hawkeye? More?
Hawkeye?
They mentioned it in Hawkeye.
Maybe it's Fisk Tower.
I think it might be Fisk Tower.
No, they mentioned the...
Because, dude...
Oh, yeah.
He swings right in front of Rockefeller, and that's the next episode of Hawkeye where they're going to have the whole fight in the ice ring.
Yeah.
So, we'll see.
This takes place before Hawkeye, too, doesn't it?
I think the ending scene probably takes place around that time.
The same time, because it's during Christmas.
Yeah. Which I love how time has passed between September, end of August or summer, and then to Christmas.
Because they live at Happy's place for a while.
Yes.
And
I feel bad for Peter Parker, like his first Christmas ever.
Yeah, he's all alone.
Yeah,
oh,
but you know what? He's in good spirits. He's swinging around and that's Spider-Man, man. Through the worst, he still moves on. And I love that. That's why it's so. That's why that character. One of the reasons why that character is so enduring.
Oh, also. Amazing. The Iron Spider has got web wings. I didn't know that.
That was cool. I looked at it, I was like, what suit is that? Oh, it's the Iron Spider one. He's just like, I
didn't know it had web wings.
So, that was cool. Yeah. Anything else we want to say?
We love so let's talk about, the big question is this is going to be hard to answer right now. I understand if you guys can't. But a lot of people are wondering, where does it rank in MCU? Where does it rank in Spider-Man?
High up.
Too early to ask me, honestly.
I agree. It's high though.
It is high.
It's high.
It's
I don't know if I can. I will say I think.
I want to say
I like it more. I think I can pretty confidently say that overall, I like it a little bit more. And it's just weird because I love those two movies, but slightly more than Far From Home and Homecoming.
Well,
love those movies.
Yes.
But I think
they're different movies.
They're different movies,
and also,
and it's not a detestment to them. But I could probably say that amongst the Tom movies, it's my favorite.
Yes.
Right? It's the real question is it a contender against Spider-Man 2? That's something I don't know if I'm able to decide yet. Right? I'm not a huge Spider-Verse is a pretty good movie, but I'm not it was not as significant for me.
It's very different for me.
It might change. I got to rewatch Homecoming. I would say it's definitely up there though. But it's
like I said, they're very different. I think for what this movie just combines core Spider-Man in every decade and
it's everything you could want.
Yeah, it is.
In terms of MCU though, I think it's probably personally from now on and forevermore probably going to be my favorite MCU movie.
It is from beginning to end, and it's no joke.
And that's because it is so personally Spider-Man.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just had the perfect experience of seeing these two, and all three of us seeing together was just that made it this is perfect. I can't ask for a better way to see this movie, and then how it unfolded and happened. I really the gripes that I have and we all have, it's not like substantial. It's
really?
Like very like nitpicks.
And it's even the Uncle Ben thing.
Yeah.
Even the Uncle Ben thing, I'm not willing to like decide on because they could 100% like I said they're probably going to talk about it again.
Yes,
and
future, also like I said, they could have cut something out.
Yeah,
sure.
And also again, like that's freshman year.
Yes, I can't wait
Spider-Man
to see
4.
What else they had in mind for this? Because now we get to hear about everything. Now we know the movie. Now we can hear about what else. We had this in plan, but we couldn't do this.
But I would say amongst Spider movies, I don't know, but amongst MCU movies, probably going to be my personal favorite for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just set up in a way to appeal to me personally, someone who loves almost every iteration of Spider-Man, but I've loved the Tom Holland, Tobey ones the most.
But taking them, and then honoring them for like this is like a
in one of the best ways you can do it.
This is like a beautiful.
It also, I mean, it feels like an MCU movie, but it also doesn't.
No,
it's interesting. It has
like how they use Doctor Strange, but also it feels it's in the MCU. It's not like it's trying to avoid around, which these
and then such a even like the Matt Murdock thing, I don't want to forget about because it's so good.
That was so special.
Right. What about you? What do you think?
I think it's my favorite Spider-Man movie. I haven't seen a lot of them. That probably
you have seen most of them.
I have never seen both the Amazing Spider-Mans.
We've seen the rest.
I have not seen Spider-Man 3.
Okay, never mind.
I have seen Spider-Man 1 and 2. Yeah, I really like it. I don't know. I need a second viewing to like be like, okay, this is definitive.
Yeah,
right.
I agree
because hype is a big factor.
It is. Well,
it gets so excited.
Yes,
right.
That's why like you would take. I take like a couple days to think about really. Yeah. And then you ask me, and I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah. But I feel like I'm going to stick to my guns and say like, this is probably now. Yeah.
I think as of now, it's my favorite Spider-Man movie. And then it's also like top 3 MCU. I think I still like Endgame a bit more.
Yeah, well, Endgame's also less personal.
Right, yeah.
Spider-Man's less personal to you as it would be for someone like me.
I've seen all the Avengers movies. I haven't been as into the Spider-Man, but I love Spider-Man, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it would literally be like Endgame and then this movie.
Right.
Like, that's how much it's so good.
It's without a doubt it's top 5, but I think
multiverse shit is cool.
I know. And it's so funny. It's so funny. I had a thing with my roommate. He was like, "I just don't like multiverse stuff," and I was like, "Dude, I'm telling you, there's a good chance No Way Home could be really fun." He's like, "I don't know. I don't feel about it." Sure enough, this texts me favorite MCU movie, favorite Marvel movie. I think I've decided. Yep. Like, all right, buddy. All right.
Like
you know who you are if you're watching this. But the most we could. I was gonna say it's an outstanding success. Remarkably, in spite of literally all odds, it works somehow. It's good.
It's a Spider-Man movie.
That's the movie.